Maybe you've had this moment. You pass by a mirror, pause for just a second, and think, I still feel so alive inside. My energy, my humor, my love for life, it's all still here. But something in that reflection feels different. Not wrong, just softer, less defined, a little tired maybe. And the surprising part is, it's not always the fine lines or the makeup. It's something even more subtle. Often, it's the hair. As women over 50, many of us begin to notice a quiet shift. The hair that once framed our face with fullness and movement begins to thin. The crown flattens, the texture changes. It is a natural shift, influenced by time, hormones, and the beautiful complexity of being human. It is not your fault. It is not a failure. It is simply the next season. But that doesn't mean we are powerless. Because when the hair starts to change, the way our face is perceived can shift too. Less volume around the temples or crown can make the face appear longer. Thinning near the part can subtly age the profile. These are small details, but they add up. And most of the time, we don't even realize what has changed. We just know we don't quite feel like ourselves. That is what this video is for. Together, we will explore the deeper reasons why thinning hair can affect how youthful or vibrant we appear. We will talk about what is happening biologically, how it plays out visually, and most importantly, what we can do about it in gentle, effective ways. Welcome to Golden Elder Days, where we celebrate wisdom with style and age with intention. Take a breath, settle in, and if something speaks to you today, leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you haven't already, click subscribe and tap the bell so you won't miss what's next. What hair thinning after 50 really looks like? Let's pause for a quiet truth. Thinning hair does not happen overnight. It shows up little by little. One morning, you notice the top of your head feels flatter. Another week, your part line seems just a little wider than it used to be. The sides of your hair begin to lie closer to the scalp, and that effortless bounce you once loved starts slipping away. Maybe you try flipping your hair to the other side. Maybe you buy a new styling tool or another bottle of thickening serum. And still, it feels like the volume is fading quietly, like a balloon slowly letting out its air. This shift is more than physical. It changes the way we feel in our own skin. Some women begin to avoid mirrors altogether, not because they dislike who they are, but because the image no longer matches the energy inside. Some begin wearing hats more often. Others spend more time in the hair aisle, searching for answers. And sometimes we give up on styling completely, convincing ourselves that it's just a part of aging. But here's the thing. The mirror reflects, but it doesn't explain. It cannot show you the science, the hormones, the shifts in collagen and keratin that are all part of this story. It cannot tell you how common this is, or how many women across the country are nodding in quiet understanding right now. And more importantly, it cannot tell you what remains. Your style, your creativity, your presence, those are untouched. What you are experiencing is real, but it is not something to hide from. It is something to understand. Because with understanding comes compassion. And with compassion, we can begin to reclaim joy, even in the simple act of brushing our hair again. You are not alone. You are not broken. You are simply evolving. And there are ways to support your hair as it changes, without pressure, without shame. So let's keep going. Together. The science behind aging hair. Let's take a quiet moment to understand what is really happening beneath the surface. Because when we understand, we soften. We release the self-blame and the quiet frustration. We make space for choice. Hair aging is not random. One of the biggest shifts begins with our hormones. As estrogen naturally declines after menopause, hair follicles begin to shrink. They produce thinner strands. Some follicles stop growing hair altogether. It is not your imagination, it is biology. The hair cycle also slows. In our younger years, each strand had a quick and confident rhythm: grow, rest, shed, repeat. But now, that rhythm begins to stretch. The resting phase grows longer, and the growing phase shortens. It becomes harder for our hair to keep up with the normal cycle of renewal. And then there is life, the day-to-day things we carry: stress, medications, diets that may lack the deep nourishment our bodies once handled more easily. Hot tools, tight ponytails, chemical dyes, these things add up, quietly, over time. But here is the good news: aging is natural, and nature, while powerful, is not the end of the story. You are not powerless. Knowledge is not just information, it is a key. When you understand why your hair is changing, you can choose how to respond. You can adjust your nutrition to support hair health from the inside out. You can soften your styling habits to reduce stress on the scalp. You can explore products that support your follicles with care instead of aggression. This is not about chasing youth, it is about working with your body, not against it. Because the truth is, your hair still wants to grow. It simply needs a little more kindness and a little more patience. And just like you, it is still capable of beauty, in its own time, in its own way. Why thin hair can make the face look older. Let's talk about something most of us feel but rarely name: the quiet way thinning hair changes the shape of our face. You might not notice it at first. A little less volume here, a little more exposure there. But one day, you look in the mirror, and something feels different. Hair is not just hair, it is the frame around the portrait of your face. When we are younger and hair is full, it creates a soft border. It balances features, it catches the light. It gently holds the lines of the jaw, the curve of the cheek, the brightness of the eyes. But as hair begins to thin, that gentle frame starts to fade. The volume around the crown shrinks, the sides no longer hold shape. And the face, without that visual support, can look more tired or more drawn than it really is. Flat or limp hair can even exaggerate what we would rather not highlight. It can draw attention to jowls or deepen the shadows under the eyes. It is not about vanity, it is about proportion and perception. Think of a painting with a wide, soft frame. The image feels complete. Now imagine that same painting in a thin, harsh border. It feels smaller, less grounded. That is the quiet role your hair plays. It softens, it lifts, it balances. When volume disappears, especially around the temples or the crown, the silhouette changes. The face can seem longer or sharper, and not always in a flattering way. This can affect how we are perceived by others, and more importantly, how we perceive ourselves. But here is the reassuring truth. This is not irreversible. You do not need to chase trends or commit to drastic styles. With the right cut, shape, and even a little volume in the right place, you can bring that balance back. Not to look younger, but to look more like yourself, the way you feel inside. And that feeling of alignment is powerful. Quiet, but powerful. Now that we understand how thinning hair shifts the way our face is framed, let's talk about 5 haircuts that can gently restore volume, lift, and lightness. These styles are not about covering up. They are about bringing harmony back to your features. Each one is designed to work with the natural beauty of aging hair, not against it. Let's begin with the soft layered bob. This is a classic for a reason. It creates gentle movement, especially around the jawline, which can soften angles and lift the face without being dramatic. The layers add dimension without looking choppy, and the length gives just enough coverage without dragging the features down. Next, the collarbone length cut with textured ends. This one is perfect if you love a little length, but want to avoid flatness. By cutting just at the collarbone and adding light texturing at the ends, you create a sense of airiness. The hair floats instead of clinging, which brings more life to the silhouette of the face. It also draws the eye to the neck and collarbone, which are elegant, expressive areas. Third, the long pixie with side-swept bangs. Do not be fooled by the word pixie. This cut is far from severe. It's feminine, stylish, and wonderfully low maintenance. The side-swept bangs open the face, especially around the eyes. And with a little lift at the roots and softness around the ears, this cut brings out cheekbones and gives you a fresh, confident look. Fourth on the list, the layered lob. This is your best friend if your hair has started to thin at the crown. By layering slightly at the top and keeping the ends structured, you create height where you need it and weight where you do not. This shape elongates the neck and lifts the entire profile. It is graceful and modern at the same time. And finally, curtain bangs. These are not just a trend, they are a tool. Curtain bangs part softly in the center and frame the face without closing it off. They create softness around the forehead and temples, two places that often feel more exposed as we age. Paired with any of the cuts above, they can transform the energy of your face without losing its natural character. Each of these cuts brings something different, but what they all share is this: they redirect the eye toward movement, structure, and softness. They shift the focus from what may be thinning to what is still beautifully alive. And that kind of shift is not just visual, it is emotional. You are not hiding, you are simply reframing. Now that we have talked about the right haircut, let's explore what brings that cut to life. The way you style your hair can make all the difference. Not by adding more layers or changing your color, but by using smart, subtle techniques that create softness and lift. Let's start with products. The best friend of thinning hair is lightweight volume. That means mousse, dry foam, and root-lifting sprays. Look for ones that say words like airy, weightless, or flexible on the label. These products do not smother the hair, they support it. A small amount applied at the root, before blow-drying, can transform the way your style holds throughout the day. Now, about how you dry your hair. Blow-drying against the natural growth pattern is a small change that creates big lift. Instead of following the direction your hair wants to lie, lift it up and away from the scalp as you dry. Focus especially at the crown and part line. A round brush can help with this, even if you are not someone who usually uses tools. Speaking of brushes, the magic of round brushes is real. A medium to small barrel size works best for building body without frizz. Use it at the roots to add volume, and at the ends to create that soft curve that bounces gently as you move. It adds life without adding effort. Another little trick that works beautifully is using small barrel curlers. Just a few at the crown for 10 minutes while you finish your coffee. They do not give you tight curls. They give you that lifted, open shape that looks effortless and graceful. You can finger comb it out for a natural finish. Now, here's what to avoid. Heavy oils, even natural ones, can weigh your hair down and make it look stringy. Over-conditioning is another common trap. You want softness, not slipperiness. And stiff, crunchy sprays that lock your hair in place may hold for a minute, but they take away the movement that makes you look alive. Always choose products that allow your hair to breathe and move. Graceful styling is about honoring your hair's texture, not fighting it. A little lift at the root, a soft bend at the end, and a touch of intention in your product choice can completely change how your hair feels and how your face is framed. Because beauty is not about control, it is about flow. Let your hair move the way you move through life. Lightly, thoughtfully, and with just enough lift to remind the world that you are still rising. When it comes to hair health, what we put into our bodies often matters just as much as what we put on our strands. No serum or spray can replace what a well-nourished system provides from within. Let's begin with the nutrients most talked about: biotin, collagen, iron, and zinc. You have probably seen them in supplements or heard them praised. The truth is, they can help, but only when your body actually needs them. If you are low in iron, for example, your hair may feel thin or brittle. In that case, restoring iron levels may lead to noticeable changes. The same goes for zinc and certain B vitamins like biotin. Collagen, on the other hand, offers structural support not just for skin, but also for hair. It is not magic, but it does help build a healthier base. A scoop in your morning smoothie or coffee can be a gentle daily boost. Hydration is another quiet hero. Water helps transport nutrients and keep cells functioning at their best. And protein? Hair is made of keratin, a protein. If you are not getting enough through food, your hair may be the first to suffer. There is no miracle pill, but a balanced plate, rich in color and variety, lays the foundation for stronger, more vibrant hair. Think leafy greens, healthy fats, lean proteins, and a little kindness at every meal. Because beauty begins within, and nourishment is an act of self-respect. There is a quiet kind of grief that can come with thinning hair. It does not announce itself loudly, it just settles in the small moments. When you avoid the mirror, when you hesitate before brushing. When you remember how it used to feel to run your fingers through something fuller, softer, easier. And if you have felt that, you are not alone. But here is something worth holding close. Your hair did not betray you. It did not give up. It simply changed, as many parts of us do with time. And change, while not always easy, is never the end of beauty. It is the beginning of a new way to care. The styles you choose now are not about covering or chasing youth. They are about expression. They are about showing the world that you still deserve attention, joy, and beauty that feels like you. Styling your hair is not an act of vanity. It is a gesture of self-respect. It is a way of saying, I still matter. I still get to feel radiant in my own skin. Grace does not ask for perfection. Grace asks for presence, to show up, to care, not because you must, but because you can. So, if your hair feels different these days, give it the softness it needs, the time, the love, and watch what happens when you meet it with tenderness, not frustration. Sometimes, all it takes is a shift in how we see ourselves. So here we are. We have talked about how thin hair can quietly shift how the world sees you. But more importantly, we have explored how small, thoughtful changes can bring lightness and lift back to your reflection. Maybe it is a new cut that adds movement. Maybe it is a volumizer that does not weigh you down. Maybe it is just the simple act of showing your hair a little more kindness. Whatever it is, know this. You do not need to chase youth, you only need to honor where you are now. There is no pressure to be perfect, no finish line to reach. Think of this as gentle experimentation, a chance to try something new and see how it feels. If it brings you more confidence, more ease, more joy, then that is the right choice for you. And now, I would love to hear from you. What haircut or style made you feel younger, more yourself, more alive? Share it in the comments. Your story could inspire someone else to take that first small step. If this video helped in any way, consider subscribing to Golden Elder Days and turning on notifications. We are building a space where elegance grows from self-respect, not comparison. Because this journey is not about turning back the clock, it is about showing up fully, with softness and strength, exactly as you are. Hello there. If you enjoy gentle conversations, thoughtful reflections, and inspiring ideas about beauty, elegance, and growing into yourself after 50, then our community posts are just for you. This is where we share quiet thoughts, helpful tips, and simple reminders that you are not alone on this journey. Feel free to join the discussion. Leave a comment, or simply read along and take what speaks to your heart. We're always happy to have you here.